Well, folks, welcome to another edition of Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Van Talk, and we're going to have some fun here tonight. This episode is going to be about homegrown. It's going to be about things that are made in our own backyard, but it's also going to be about networking, right?
Yeah.
We'll give a little plug numerous times tonight for my buddy Dan Baird's jam that he does on Thursday nights. This is where I met this gentleman, Mr. Michael Brunt, who has Fireside Guitars out here in Fall River. Thanks for doing this.
Well, thanks for coming in.
So the night that I met you, I think it was 2 Thursdays ago, you had, a few of your pickups there. You had some of your guitars. You had one that you showed me that was in the trunk of your car. Just, I guess, tell me how long you've been doing this.
A few years. So it all started probably 2 years ago. I was sort of between jobs, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to make pickups. And I started doing it. And I got all the stuff, and I got into it. I did that red guitar down there. And then I got another pretty good job. And just did it on the side. A little
Pickup
bit of
stopped.
Yeah. Well, they didn't stop, but it gave me time to really...
That's all right. No, keep her going. It's all good.
It gave me time to kind of get the feedback and learn from them without like the pressure of actually like selling them all the time. So the designs changed a lot over those 2 years, even though I was kind of just making them for friends.
Yep.
So then it got to the point where I'd figured out some stuff that I thought was pretty unique. I thought was really cool. Of course, I think it's cool, but hopefully you guys will hear them later and you'll agree.
Yeah, well, we're going to do a little segment with our good friend Peter Dolomont, who Razor Boy, Monkey's Uncle, Side Hustle, and we're going to do that. But so, I mean, I guess your process. So you're a player yourself.
I'm actually not very much of a player.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So I like that. So why then pickups? Was it an interest to you? Like, why'd you go that route?
I just find them interesting technically.
Okay.
And I like music. And I think, like you were thinking there, that I would be a player. That kind of kept me, I think, from really digging into it for a while. And one day I realized there's only, I think, one well-known player who's well-known for making cool guitar stuff. All the other ones, like, think of, who's the guy with the violins? The fanciest ones.
Oh, like I know what you're, I don't know the guy you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about, yeah.
You've never heard of anything he's written or played.
Sure, I mean, that's fair, and oftentimes things come like that, or come out of, somebody tells somebody and somebody's technical.
Yeah.
Now Thomas Dolby was kind of a player, but I mean, he wasn't really a player. He was the guy that invented Dolby sound systems and what that back in the day, and then put it in an album. Maybe your album's coming out. We don't know this.
Maybe.
Yet.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, I'm trying to learn the bass, so we'll see.
Well, and you get some drums over there. Should mention we're here on Eastlink Community TV, which is a great place to be. They love the local stories, and so you started a few years ago. Your process, obviously a lot of hit and miss. You're probably testing some things, what works, what doesn't.
Yep.
You finally get to the point where, okay, look, man, this is really good. I like this. What was the first success or roadmap for you?
I think it was really figuring out how to get that Stratocaster sound that really sort of fights with itself, that just cuts through with this sort of dissonance. And when I was able to do it again, it wasn't a fluke. And again, and I was like, people want this.
Yep.
And then I started to think about it like a product. How do I get it packaged? I made these cool boxes. Which, funny thing, those boxes are actually tiny guitar bodies. From a manufacturing perspective, that's how they're made.
And I don't know if you can see this, but the pickups themselves are made out of wood.
Yep.
And what type of wood would this be that you have here?
That's an exotic wood. It's called Paduke.
Okay.
And it's naturally orange. That isn't dyed.
Wow. And that's incredible. If you look at that, I mean, one of the things that kind of turned me on to this the night that we were talking, you took some pickups out, and I was like, I'm used to the black ones that you see on. These are very unique. I think they look pretty cool when whatever you put them in. Some people might argue with me. I don't know.
It's
but I
a
mean,
piece. There's
another one right there, right? So I mean, this is stuff that and you look at it. You guys obviously can't see it. You're in TV land there, but very well made, very soft, very it's cool. So that piece there would take you roughly how long to craft?
Well, we do them in batches of probably 25
Okay.
hours. for a batch. Yeah, they're we're getting the process faster and faster, but yeah, it's not like the plastic ones that just sort of get stamped out. There's a fair bit more.
So fair enough would be the whole you got to break a few eggs and make an omelet sort of scenario would be in play here.
I'll show you the shop later. There's a lot of broken eggs up there.
Oh wait, and that's good. So when I met you, and I want to say here we're on Eastlink Community TV, and it's cool that Eastlink allows us to do that because we're not stuck in a studio, right? We're here doing this at your studio, your place of business, which is very cool. So the night that I met you, we were at Dan's Jam.
Yep.
I don't know, there was probably 20, 25 people out, and Dan comes up to me and says, "This is my friend that makes pickups," and I was like, whatever. Anyway, you showed me these, and we started talking and what have you, and the thing that I guess really got me going was the fact that you're still trying to figure out how to get them out there into the universe.
Yeah, it's interesting because people can't. That's why I go to the open mics, so people can hear them.
Sure.
Because some guy on the internet sees a set of pickups and they look pretty, but are they just buying pickups because they look pretty? I mean, maybe. I think they look pretty. That's a feature.
Yeah.
But you've got to get out there and get people talking about them and have someone experience them. Yeah.
Well, and guitar players are funny. I mean, most guitar players I know, we're going to meet one here in a few minutes, that they like what they like, but they're very much very particular about what they use. Myself as a drummer, I tend to err on the if it's less expensive, I tend to my ears I like that a little bit more. But for your pickups, it's I guess one of those things where, are you finding the niche with the guitar players that they're trying to get in there and they like it, the feedback that you're getting? What are you getting?
Yeah, I think yes. Yeah, I've got them into the hands of some really great players down in Wolfville last week.
Okay.
And the feedback was all really good and well thought out and meaningful, and that meant a lot to me.
Awesome. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a couple minutes. We're going to pay some bills on Eastlink Community TV. We're going to come back with Mr. Michael Brunt, CEO of Fireside Guitars, after this. Welcome back to Rimshots with Sean and Eastlink Community TV. I'm here with Michael Brunt, Fireside Guitars in Fall River. Got to point that out. I don't know. People don't think you're. Our own people sometimes think you got to go away to get good stuff, but it's not the case.
No, we've got it right here.
Right. One of the things that I want to start off by showing people, and this is a beautiful Stratocaster. What year would this be, ish?
Probably. When did Wayne's World come out?
Ooh, Wayne's World. 90, hold it now, 89?
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's an official Wayne's World Excalibur Stratocaster.
And if you guys can see this, and it might be tough to see, the pickups beautifully match the neck, which is pretty cool. So somebody goes, "Oh, you're making them out of wood or they're orange." No, they're not all orange. You're kind of finding your way of, how you're going to customize things for people. And
yeah, those ones are actually torched. They were purple, but we charred them, so they have sort of a hint of purple behind the charred black.
And I mean, here's the thing. If somebody came to you and said, a little out of tune, but if somebody came to you and said, I'm looking for this, would you entertain? Yeah.
We actually just got a batch of magnets in all the different kinds. 2, 3, 5, 8. We would do ceramics and stuff too, but bars, we can do all that.
So it's funny because when I was talking to you on the Thursday night, I texted Peter and I texted Warren, my buddy Warren Robert, and they both were having the same questions, similar questions but different. I'm like, I don't know. Like, talk to Michael. What are you asking me for? But they were similar. Like it was, could they do this? Could they do that? And I'm like, well, talk to Michael because I get the feeling you could. Are you at the spot where you want to kind of try to move the inventory you've already done before you want to do new stuff, or where you're with that?
So, I mean, it's a bit of each. I learn a lot when I do custom jobs, but I'm at the point with sort of my innovations and sort of changes that I'm able to get what people are looking for, not necessarily by doing what they think they should ask for.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
I enjoy getting people, making sure people leave with what makes them happy.
Okay.
It's not always by giving them the number of magnet that they want.
Okay.
But I do, especially for people who gig and who are making music, helping them get what they want is important to me. I'm definitely up for that.
Okay, so that's cool. So as we're talking about that, we're going to have Peter Dolomont on in the next segment here. So if Peter comes in and he's got something in his mind that he wants for, a certain guitar. Peter's got over 40 guitars. You go into his basement, it's like a guitar store, and you think I'm joking, but it's not at all, right? If he doesn't have it, you don't need it, right? If he was to come in and talk to you, what's your process of, I guess, coming up with what he's looking for? Is there a series of meetings, or how would you typically do it?
Oh, it would definitely depend on the person and sort of how they express what they want.
Okay.
Some of the guys, there's a band called the Sandries that plays once in a while.
Okay.
From talking to those guys, I know they could tell me what they're looking for. I could go home, build them a set of pickups, come back, and probably be pretty darn close if I didn't nail it. Like, they knew how to ask for what they wanted. There's other people who you might have to build 3 or 4 sets to, like, get there.
Sure. And I guess, obviously I know Peter very well, I know Warren very well. I would tend to say they would be a little bit more, I guess, hands-on what they're looking for, just kind of the way they're wired, right? But the cool thing is and when you and I talked, I really get the feeling that, the customer service aspect of things was what you were kind of really looking to focus on, which any new business, obviously, you want to make money, you want to be in money or make money to be around. But I got the feeling that service was kind of the most important thing for you. Is that a fair statement?
I think it is fair, and I think having everything here, being able to do start to finish, helps. And working with the exotic woods in a slightly more premium range really helps with that too, because I don't need to just move them through like plastic.
Well, and that's a good point. Should mention once again, we're here on Eastlink Community TV. This is actually kind of cool because this is the first one we've done for this series where we're on a remote, and it's pretty cool. We'll get into that a little bit more in the next segment with Peter. But in terms of getting the word out there and I guess promoting what you've been doing, what methods have you been looking at so far? Obviously, this we're doing.
Yeah.
When you and I met, I said, hey, whatever I can do. But what have you been doing so far?
So the 2 things I've been trying, one, Instagram posts. I think you just kind of have to do that.
Yep.
And that's been going relatively well. And the other thing is just looking back at what the stories from Leo Fender, where he'd just go places and ask people to play his guitar. Back when an electric guitar itself was kind of weird. And I thought, I can do that. I can show up places and say, hey, I think this guitar is pretty cool. And usually people play it for a minute and say, yeah, I like that. And they play it for the whole night. And I like that.
Those old school guys, so I get to know Bill Ludwig III, actually. He's a member of the Ludwig family, and so Ludwig sold. He didn't like what they were doing, so he started his own company called WL3.
Okay.
So Bill, being the guy that he is, he's from that family, but he's still going out to music stores and he's still doing demos and it's neat because you hear the stories and it's exactly what you're talking about, but he's still doing it. And I think that hands-on approach when you get, when you say to somebody, take this, try it, goes a lot more than just seeing a picture on the internet or something.
Well, and you get the feedback. Like, if I gave that guitar, the one Pete's holding there, to somebody, and they played it for 2 or 3 minutes, and they didn't like it and said, you know what, it's too bright for me. Or, you know what, like, it's pulling through the mix too much, and I'm singing, and I got a keyboardist, and, like, I can't have that. I need this other guitar that maybe doesn't sound as premium, but, like, there's too much going on. I need that. That's really good feedback. Like, I need that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and we should mention that you had mentioned kind of before we started recording that bass pickups are on the way. You've been
bass pickups,
starting to do some prototypes and what have you.
Yep. Yeah, bass pickups are no problem. We've got bar magnets, non-Leco 8 magnets, and a bunch of more regular stuff, and we're working on kind of working our Fireside design into the whole bass thing to really give them that attack without going active.
Awesome. So here's what we're going to do on Eastlink Community TV. I keep getting that in there because I keep forgetting when you're doing TV versus the podcast. We're going to go away. We're going to take, pay a few more bills here, and then we're going to come back on the flip side. We're going to get Mr. Dolomont in here, and put these things through the paces after this. So there you go. So when you tell a guitar player 20 seconds, it winds up being 30 seconds, but that's fine. Welcome back to Rimshots with Sean here in Eastlink Community TV. As promised, my good buddy Peter Dolomont here with Michael, Fireside Guitars. And I should point out, so Pete's kind of like me. He's a hybrid. He he plays with us and Michelle Ryder in Side Hustle. He plays with Monkey's Uncle. He plays in Razor Boy. Pete and I played in a number of bands together, like China White, Fifth Avenue, all that stuff. So, Pete, you were over there off camera there, the first two segments, kind of noodling around with another guitar, but you picked up that one. Just give us your 2 cents on what you're hearing.
For a Strat, I love it. I'm a Les Paul guy, so I'm more into the humbucker thing, but very spanky, very clear, articulate. No, it feels good.
And Pete likes nothing, so that's a very good sign. So I noticed there when you were kind of flipping back and forth between pickups and stuff. I mean, like I can tell the difference, but just from a first, you played a lot of guitars with a lot of different pickups. Your first, I guess, impression of what you're hearing from those.
Well, like I said, very clear, bright, so it'll cut through. Ooh, let's have some volume. I would wire in the tone so you can just make it a little more prettier. So you get the little.
But that to me, I mean, drummer aside, I mean, that's sitting there with really minimal, if any, reverb, maybe a little bit of chorus, maybe a little bit of delay. And it just sounds like,
Actually, there's no pedals and there's no
pedals.
Well, there you go. Man, that to me just sounds like right out of the box. I knew what I was talking about, right? But right out of the box sounds amazing. So what pickups are on that guitar?
So those are the Purple Heart Exotics. The top two would be our normal wind, and the bridge pickup is a little bit overwound.
Right on.
But that's more or less the usual. It was probably the first set to be the new usual, but that is what it is.
So would this been a guitar now that you did kind of like for yourself, or did somebody suggest it, or how did this one come to be?
So this guitar's got an interesting story. A friend of mine, Sasha, from The Right Swipes, he had this guitar and he loved the way it felt, with the V-shaped neck and the skinny nut and the whole bit. And it sounded awful and it buzzed, and it was, he didn't want to modify it because it was an official Wayne's World Strat, unmodified, all that.
Sure.
But he couldn't play it, and one day he was like, Mike, let's do it. I want this to be a really good guitar. And I did a bit of a restoration on it. I found out the output jack was wired backwards. He was breaking strings, the nut had been, or not the nut, the saddle had got these sharp edges on it. I've got like a whole YouTube shaky cell phone cam restoration summary up there. And went through, so we cleaned up all that stuff, did a whole setup on it, went all the way through it, and then put those pickups in. And now he plays that instead of his American Strats.
Right on. So, and I think we determined that's about an 89. And the thing, like I said in the last segment, not being a guitar player, but so one of the questions, I can't remember if it was Peter or Warren asked me, but wood, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at that, and it's like it looks like out of the box that those pickups were made to match that neck, which for some people is they want conformity, they want that certain look, right?
Yeah. So that particular neck, even though it's brown, it's got almost a purpley hue to it. So the Purple Heart pickups being darkened really fits it. A lot of guitars we do, I'll just jump over here. They don't look as great on the shelf, but we do a lot of these in the Zebrawood.
So that's the first one Pete picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was glad that you got him to put it, because I think he was going to leave with it. But that's a really, really cool guitar.
So those just look good on everything because they've got a wood grain to them. They've got the dark and light, but Strats usually have a white or black pickup. So having a light and dark pickup wood grain, it looks good on everything.
So what I want to do, because we're almost out of time, I want to say a couple of things here. One, Michael, tell our viewers where they're going to find out about you, where they're going to find out about Fireside Guitars, how they get a hold of you.
So we have a website, firesideguitars.com. There's Instagram Fireside Guitars. There's YouTube Fireside Guitars. In fact, there's Fireside Guitars everywhere. Firesideguitars@gmail.com. I think we even have a Pinterest, but there's nothing there. Don't go to Pinterest. Yeah, so the website, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, that's where to find us.
Awesome. And I want to thank you for doing this because it's been a lot of fun. And if anybody out there wants to be on Rimshots with Sean, you can email bandtalkshawn@gmail.com and we'll see what we can do to get you on. We're going to get Mr. Dolomont to play us out. Thanks a lot for tuning in to Rimshots with Sean. We'll see you next week. Eastlink Community TV.